I have this shirt that I love, but when I go to make another shirt like it, I don't know how to make the neckline look like this. What do I do? That's what's called binding, and there are a few different ways that we can achieve this. Hi, I'm Allie, the literary sewist. Here in my crafting castle, I create projects inspired by the books I read, but in this video, I'm going to show you 3 different methods that you can use to finish your necklines with binding. Pro tip, if you're working with a pattern that has a banded neckline but you want to make it a binded neckline, you want to recalculate your measurements because the binding can be a little bit different than the measurements for a band based on the pattern designer's final look of the garment that they're going for. So measure out the pattern piece and calculate that down to 90% to get the actual measurement of the length of the band that you want to use. Start with quartering your neckline and band. Then attach one raw edge of the band to the inside of the neckline. Match up the 4 quarters and stretch clip to fit. I'm demonstrating this with a lightning stitch. Using a narrow seam allowance, sew the band to the neckline. Fold the seam up away from the neckline toward the band. Now fold the raw edge of the band toward the raw edge of the seam. Then fold in half, enclosing both the seam and the raw edge. Once you have everything clipped in place, go back and make sure you didn't miss any loose edges. Using the lightning stitch again, top stitch as close to the edge as possible. And your double fold binding is complete. Add a little steam to give it a nice press. Starting with the quartered neckline and band, first fold the band in half. Now you can attach the band to the inside of the quartered neckline, then stretch to fit. You will sew the neckline and both edges of the band in one step. I'm using a serger to join all 3 layers together. Fold the serged edge up away from the neckline toward the fold. Then fold the band over, enclosing the serged edge. Now I will demonstrate finishing this with a zigzag stitch. No matter what method you're using to finish, do not pull the fabric as it feeds through the machine. Your single fold binding is complete. Twin needles are excellent for finishing here too. Before you quarter the band, hammer serge one of the raw edges. Now you can attach the band to the outside of the neckline. Just like the double fold method, you will sew the raw edge of the band to the neckline. Fold the serged edge up and away from the neckline. You will understitch the serged edge to the band. I'm using a straight stitch, but a lightning stitch is good too. I'm using a black thread so you can see how the understitch is sewn.
Oh!
Flip the band, also called a facing, inside the neckline and smooth out. If you find that this neckline isn't laying smoothly, give it a good amount of steam. Your reverse binding is complete. Question of the day. Which of these three methods actually looks the easiest to you? Is there one you haven't tried before or one that you prefer using? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. One more pro tip for you. All of these methods can actually be done exclusively on a sewing machine. You don't need a serger to do them. I prefer to do the serger sewing machine combo. It's just a little bit easier. Your finishings, as far as the top stitching or understitching, can also be interchangeable. Doesn't matter which one you use, except for the straight stitch. On knits, you want to make sure you're using a stitch that has a little bit of stretch to it. A triple stitch, the lightning stitch, or the zigzag stitch, even a double needle is going to be perfect for that. Did this video help you understand binding a little bit better? If it did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing to my channel. There will be new tutorials and book-inspired sewing projects coming up in the coming weeks. And be sure to ring the bell so you get notified every time there's a new video uploaded. In the meantime, why don't you check out over here for some additional tutorials, maybe some sewing projects you haven't gotten a chance to do yet. And we'll see you next time.